What's up everybody? Pete with Auto Repair Tips. In this video I got a 2015 Chrysler 200. Customer says that the starter's been acting up on them, so we're going to put one in. But on these Chrysler 200s, they're kind of a pain in the butt. You got to pull a half shaft out. You have to take out the battery. You got to take out the fuse box. It's just a lot of work to get one out. So in this video, we're going to try to find some shortcuts, maybe to shorten this time up a little bit, because I think book time is like 3.5 hours, which is to me ridiculous to have a 3.5 hour job just for starters. But we're going to try and shed some time, and if I can, I'm going to share it with you, and hopefully it'll help you out at home. Let's get into it. All right, first thing we're going to do is remove the negative battery cable. That's a good habit to get into, because if you go to take the positive one off and you hit something, you could create a spark. But if you take the negative one off first, come on. And then you go ahead and take the positive one off. There's no chance of you creating that spark and potentially shorting something out. I have seen people short out computers by doing that before, believe it or not. The battery hold down is a 10 also. Your computer here, usually there's a lever that you would pull up and take it off like this on both sides. But looking at it, it looks like somebody has already been in here and done something, because I don't see a lever. So let's take a look. Let's see. Matter of fact, you can see right here where it should be. You know what? I don't think I want to get into that. We're going to just unbolt it and I'm going to set it aside. There is a ground strap right here. Make sure you put it back on there. It helps ground the computer. Let's set it over here out of the way. Looks like the battery tray is bolted on. Got one right here holding it. There's a 13 on the back side of this battery tray. The negative terminal has a push clamp going through it on the back, on the side of the battery tray. Gotta knock it out. So getting this battery tray up, I was kind of stumped for a second there, but I believe it looks like there's two bolts on the bottom side up against the frame rail right here that have it bolted in. So I'm gonna try to get the car up in the air and see can I get it from the bottom, because I think going from the top is gonna be a little bit more of a pain than the bottom. The two bolts for the battery tray that are on the bottom are right here. That's a 13 and that's a 13. This one I can get to pretty easily. The other one over here on the back side, I'm going to use this setup right here, and I'm going to try to use an electric ratchet on it and see can I get it out. And when I go in, I'm going in on an angle just like this. I'm going to go with the back one first, because that's the more pain of a butt one. Look, I didn't even curse. My wife would be so proud right now. You gotta love electric ratchets. They have come a long ways. I remember the first one that came out that I bought. It was a piece of crap. But since then, they have come a long ways. You know what? I'm gonna try to change this to a shallow. Let's see if that's any better. The deep well did okay to a point, but then it kind of like got in the way. I can't really get the socket on for some odd reason all the way. And there might be an easier way to do this. I don't see it. It'd have been a lot easier if the bottom half of the battery tray box had like a little V cut out in it, and it could have just slid over top of it. You didn't have to go through all the taking the whole damn bolt out. 3 threads from finishing this is just stuck in there. The last 2 threads, I can't seem to turn it and get my hand on it. I'm gonna move this cover out of the way, and maybe I can go up from this angle and get my hands on it better. Kind of like, maybe like this. This is definitely a freaking overkill. Oh my God, no way. There. So when we go back with it, I got a trick. It doesn't need to be like that. We're gonna fix that. Because if I ever gotta go back and do it again, we're not going through all this BS. We're gonna fix that right off the get-go. So there's definitely another bolt somewhere hiding on this thing. I'm gonna pull off this cover right here just to get a better look that way on the back side. There's 2 10s held it on. and there's 2 clips right here, and there's 2 clips on the side. Just pull the tabs up, and that cover will come up. And maybe I can get a better view looking this way on it now, but there's definitely something else down in there. Got it. I bet the battery box is half the damn job. What is going on here? There's got to be something somewhere else got me. Whatever it is right there. It's literally right here. I bet it's got one on the back side down here you got to get. How much you want to bet? Probably have to take the freaking splash shield off to get to it. So it's kind of what I was thinking. If you look right here, it wants you to remove that splash shield on the left fender area. I'm guessing there's a bolt behind that. And it's also telling you, which I really just tried to want to get around doing that, but it's also telling you to remove the power distribution center. That's going to be your fuse box assembly. I mean, I may end up having them do that, but we're trying to make a shortcut of this, but sometimes shortcuts just don't exist. All right, we'll keep plugging away and let's see what happens. So we're going to get rid of some push clips here. It's about, I don't know, half dozen or so of these clips like this. And we got about, I don't know, about a half dozen of these 8s, just like that. Let's see what we reveal. We've got a big old bolt right there. You know, it's kind of funny. I was talking to a guy earlier today, and he was saying how he was a body man, and then he became, you know, became a mechanic, and then back and forth or whatever. But if you think about it, in a reality form in today's cars, especially with Chryslers, like you have to take the front bumper off on some of the cars to work on them. I mean, you need to know how to do body repairs also, you know, because you are taking apart things that are body related and not necessarily mechanic related. Back in the day, originally, I was a body man. I did actually most of the paint work back a long time ago, custom paint work and everything. And I just kind of dwindled off to just doing mainly mechanic work. I love mechanic work. I love electrical, I love all that stuff. All right, it looks like it's coming loose. Let me lower it down and let's yank on it from the top side. So me finding a shortcut so far has been pretty much non-existent. This has been a cluster. It's definitely loose. I've got a clip over here somewhere holding it in. Right here it looks like. They realize this is just a battery box. It's not supporting the car. So we got the last clip pulled out and it just comes up like this. But that was a chore. Now the next thing is they want you to remove this. Not sure why. I don't really want to do that, but I do know that that starter bolt is back here somewhere. And I'm thinking maybe you have to remove it to get to the starter bolt. But what a joke. As soon as I get my eyes on it, I will show you. So I'm gonna do my best to show you where this starter bolt is. So follow the point of this extension. Straight down here, right there. So we're gonna try to come up with a setup to get that bolt out. That's a joke. I mean, they got literally there's 1, 2, 3, like 4 little water lines in the way, possibly 5 water lines in the way. But to do something like that is no real answer for it. I went ahead and got the car up in the air. I'm gonna do the bottom bolt real quick. Mainly just curious the size of the bolt, see how tight it is. All right, it's a 14. So now let's lower it back down. Let's try to tackle that top bolt. We have to come up with a game plan with that because that is it's definitely in an odd position. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to just start moving some things out of the way just to see if I can get to that bolt. I'm going to start with this water line here. It's on a bracket right here, and it's 10 millimeter holding on. I'm going to take it up and maybe I can lay it on the side or lay it aside just a little bit. I just need enough to get an extension down in there and just so we can get some turns on that thing. You know, when I do a job like this, I wonder what in the world was the daggone engineer thinking when they did this. So somebody's been in here too, because this one here, it's got a regular hose clamp on, and I know that's not how this came from the factory. I'm wondering, I don't want to take the water line apart. I really don't. I can move it something like that. We can get maybe, it says something about removing a wire down there, but I don't damn near want to remove a wire down there. Probably won't be able to get it back in. Let's see something here. I got something halfway on there. I said it was halfway on there. It ain't on there with a hoot. I'm gonna try the same setup with a 1/4-inch drive. All right, after going over it, just looking at all areas, we're gonna have to remove this box here just to get an angle on it. You need to start by taking the wires off here. They're held on with 10mm nuts. Next thing I need to take off is the center part here because it's bolted onto the bottom. Make sure I'm getting this right. There's some clips we got to get out. There's tabs you need to push in to get right here in order to get it out. It kind of just lifts straight up. On a good day, they stay in there. And normally they don't come out. Normally they'll stay rested in there. Yes, it ain't unscrewed all the way. There you go. There you go. Operator error, right? Let's set this down here. We need to get this box out of the way. All right, these are an 8mm. Now supposedly, supposed to be able to get a good angle on it now. I mean, I could have seen it the whole time. It's just getting a damn angle on it was crazy. When you loosen that starter bolt up, you can't not take it out all the way. It's gonna stay in the hole. There's not enough clearance to take that bolt out. There is a wire. And they said you had to remove it. I tried without it. It's this wire right here. It's this wire right here. It is legitly wire tied down on there. And with that wire sitting right there, you can't get that angle on it. And I see what they're saying, and I did try to do without it. So everything I've tried, I have tried. And it says take it off. And I'm gonna go back with new wire ties when I put it back in. All right, well, it's loose. Let's see what happens now. I guess it might give me enough room to push down on it to get it on there. So after loosening that wire up and goofing around with it, I was able to get a 16 on there. But it is tight as shit. Did it break loose? Did I get lucky? I would love to come across the guy who designed this in a dark alley. Holy shit. That was not necessary to be that tight. Like I said earlier, when you're loosening this one up, it's gonna loosen up, but you're not gonna be able to get it out all the way. Definitely have some patience. I cut the camera off a few times because there was no sense in you guys watching me fiddle-faddle around until I found the right combination. But this is the combination I used. 16 on a swivel, not an impact swivel, just a regular swivel. All right, let's get it up in the air and let me look at the bottom half and see what's up next. They're saying you gotta take the axle out. Again, we're gonna try not to take the axle out. I think if we twist and turn and play, we might be able to finagle it through. But the first thing we need to do is go ahead and get off the battery wire. That's a 13. Once we get this battery wire off, we should have more room to twist it down to get the connector off. That's a 13 also. I took it off the damn solenoid, not the battery wire. Try this again. All right, here we go. That's more like it. I tell you what, I would hate to, not that doing it yourself at home is a bad thing, but I would hate to have to work on the ground. Definitely be a pain in the butt. I got it twisted around where I could get to the red tab here. There's a lock tab. I twisted it around. I twisted it around so I could get to the lock tab and go ahead and get it off that way. We're gonna try. Like I said, we'll see. Yeah, I'm trying to cheat. I'm trying to do it. I tried to cheat every step of the way. Because between the battery box, that had 5,000 screws, the battery, they're saying you gotta pull the axle now. You gotta be way jerry-rig it around somehow. It's so close. So we're on like our third rotation. I mean, oh my gosh, it's so close. So close. I'm wondering, can I, see, this is my original thought. Maybe go this way. It's just, I mean, they could have made it like a, I mean, quarter-inch difference. Shit, that almost got it stuck. Funny, you can do complete circles with this thing, but you can't get it out. Now we'll give it a couple more tries and then we're gonna move the axle out, I guess. Not gonna happen. So there is no cheating on this one here. We've gotta take the axle out. We're gonna take a 36 12 point, take off the axle nut, and we're gonna tap on this axle, try to get it out. I'm gonna try to get it out just far enough to where, again, we're gonna just try not to take the axle all the way out. I'm gonna try to pop it just out of the knuckle here, and hopefully it'll lower down enough for me just to get that starter out. That's the game plan. Make sure if you tap on the axle, just lightly tap on it. Don't beat it too hard. All right, what I did was I took what did I take? Took an 18 millimeter and popped off the outer tie rod in just so I can move it freely. Sometimes you can get lucky and pop an axle out that way without having to remove it from the knuckle itself. Sometimes. I don't believe it to be true on this one here, but we will give it a shot anyway. All right, we're not gonna fight it but so much. I already had the Torx on there. This is a Torx, this is the E14, and that is on the lower knuckle here. My brain ain't working today. Too much food. There's a bolt right here. Ah. There's a bolt and a nut. Maybe a 15. Maybe, baby. All right. Bolt and a nut that hold that lower ball joint in that knuckle. Just take it out. The ball joint's got a slot in it that the knuckle rides through. I may get my buddy over here to help me out. If I can't get this out. This should come down pretty easy though. All right, we'll climb underneath, go ahead and pop that axle out, and that starter should fall right out. All right, get a hammer and love tap on it right here. And slide the axle out just like that. And now we can get the starter out. Do me a favor, if anybody out there has a shortcut to this, drop me a video. Don't just explain it to me. I want to see a video on how you did it without having to pull the axle, without having to move the fuse panel box or any of that stuff. Because to me, this is ridiculous to have to go through all this just to get a starter out. Again, like I said, this much, literally less than a 1/4 inch is all you needed to clear that axle. But again, like I said, it's just an engineering bullshit way of making you have to go back to the dealer because a person at home probably not going to do this. But I'm going to tell you right now, if you're at home, this is definitely doable. This is something you can do yourself. If you take your time, secure the car up nicely without, worrying about it going to fall off the jack stand, this is something you can do at home. All right, let me get some parts ordered and we'll get this thing back in the car. So we just got the part in. This is through a warranty company. They would not pay for a new starter. They only pay for reman. The warranty on the reman, I think, was a year on this. Part number is a 2262074. Like I said before, I told them I don't recommend remans because of labor. I can't warranty a labor on a reman, but they said they're going to take their chance on it. So when you're putting this back in, remember that top bolt doesn't come out all the way. So when you go to put this one back in, stick it up in the hole, plug your electrical connector in first. Get that out of the way. Make sure you hear it snap because you don't want to have to reach up here and try to fight it later and then see that it didn't catch. Got the red tab pushed down. We're locked in. So now when you go up with it, remember you got to feed it through the positive cable as you're going up. Get it in place, get it lined up. The bottom bolt, get it started, get it just about snug. Leave it a little bit loose so that way you have some wiggle room with the top one to get it going. Once you get the top one tight, then come back down to the bottom. All right, remember we use the long extension with a 16 on a swivel, and you just kind of got to keep playing with it until it gets to a point where it fits on there fine. And I know you can't see because I can barely see what's going on, but we're golden. Now that we got it all tight, let's go ahead and start getting the fuse box back in. So remember when we were taking off the battery tray, this back bolt here was like forever taking it off, just forever. Well, it sits in here like this. So if you flip it like this, this is the one that is the hole that's back here. When I get things like this, and it is perfectly acceptable, it's never going to go anywhere, I take it and I slot it just like this. And once I slot it like that, I start the bolt down here, and all I have to do now is put it in and slide around the bolt, and I only have to screw it in about 5 or 6 turns to tighten it up, because you still got a solid one here, you got a solid one here. It's not going anywhere. This is probably something that should have been done from the factory when they originally built this thing. All right, let's go ahead and get the cover on here, the side that holds the that's it, folks. All right, let's go ahead and get the side cover on here. This is where the computer bolts to. And don't forget, remember there was a ground on there. All right, let's go ahead and get the computer on there now. Get that bolted in like that. I know this is something that a lot of people don't do, but you need to try to make sure to put these push clips back through whenever you can. It just keeps things secure, that's all. All right, so let me get you up to speed where we are on this starter job. I got it all back together, and I like to go ahead and try to start the vehicle before I button it all up complete. And I went to start it and didn't get anything. I confirmed earlier that this starter was definitely fried. You could smell it. I bench tested it, didn't work. I got to looking at it and I could see the ground wire was messed up a little bit. So I called the customer, and there is a warranty on this car now through the warranty company. But I called the customer and got an update with him, and I said, okay, tell me exactly what went down. I don't think they were honest at first when they were telling me what was wrong. And I told the guy, obviously something else is wrong. Tell me what's going on. He put the battery in backwards off the get-go. And he must have fried the fuse panel underneath the hood. So I called the warranty company, and they're not gonna cover a fuse panel on something that he did. That's why the ground wire was messed up, because he went to yank it off and he broke it, like, you know, the end of it off. So unfortunately, we're not gonna be able to finish this car, so I'm gonna put the tire back on it. They're gonna tow it to the house because the customer doesn't have the funds right now on fixing this car. But they're gonna probably bring it back first of the year and we'll finish taking care of it. I'll make a video on diagnosing that fuse panel and how to do it then at the time. Because like I say, right now, they're not gonna pay for any diagnostics. You know, I guess the moral of the story is, if you send your car to a shop, try to be a little bit honest up front and let them know exactly what's going on, because we could have saved a few hours of work. But I'm sorry you're not gonna see me be able to start the car. Regardless, we learned two things. There's no shortcuts in doing this job. And if you send your car to a shop, give them the whole story. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Appreciate you watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Catch you later.